Let's go. Welcome to the Scott Outpost Investigators podcast. I'm your host, Softy Mage, and we got all co-hosts here again. Co-host Savadra.
Hello, hello.
Co-host Thirsty Blood.
Greetings, everyone.
And co-host Chap from Canada.
So, dudes.
So today we're going to be talking about... So today we're going to be talking about Season 36, Shiyu Defense, Season 25 of Deadly Assault, and the new Thrall boss. And then we'll have our off-topic be multiplayer discussions, since they did talk about in their Billy discussion that'll be in the future. And we have our thoughts on the future of that.
Indeed.
Mm-hmm. Beautiful.
So, what are your guys' thoughts on this new Shiyu 35 or 36? Sorry.
It was super fun. That's for sure.
Very nice, very chill feeling Shiyu overall. Not too bad, honestly.
Very strong.
I have no complaints. The buff is very good, very generalized. It gives you a lot of freedom. I enjoy when the game gives you the freedom to be wacky and silly.
Mm-hmm.
It's very cool.
Yeah, that's about
wacky.
That's about how I think. It's a very strong buff and it's very general, so you don't have to feel bad about running characters like Lycon or Kaleda because you just get the buff anyway.
Yep.
Oh,
true.
I want to say that there's so many new enemies in this Shiyu.
Yeah,
so
fair few, honestly. They didn't introduce like a whole ton of them in this particular chapter's story, but like a good collection of the enemies are just overall like a ton of new stuff. Like we don't have any like in the lower floors. We don't really have any of the like original like floors that we're super used to. Like there's one wave of doppelganger, like for Pulchra, and there is a Thanatos in floor 4, but beyond the like Farbuti and the Banriek, the frog, also in floor 4, like it's mostly all new stuff. Like the Ionized Pugnus, which is the like Farbauti variant type thing that they have in the story, but it's like the ionized variant and also like is slightly different. I haven't actually properly studied it as an enemy yet.
Same, yeah. He died.
But I just know it's similar to Farbauti in that. Then another round of the Miasmic Trinox, not with the Frenzied Maniac this time. But then in the second half of floor 5, there's the Wicked Wraith, which was introduced in this chapter's story as well. Then Tepace and a double whammy of the Troublemaker and Rampant Brute in floor 6. Like the second half of floor 6 is actually just straight up like one of the old like ambush node things that they used to do.
mm-hmm.
It's like that floor is just actually so aggressive and fun. It's crazy.
It was super hilarious to fight against those two, especially with Manato. I had my fun.
And then on floor 7, the return of the Hater and the also return of the Defector Doppelganger. So pretty good variety, pretty heavily new content oriented, but I welcome that. It's been a very fun Shiyu, in my opinion.
And I also want to add that it feels like the enemies are a little less tanky this time around. Like, I don't know if that's the buff skewing things, but it just feels like they have a reasonable amount of HP.
Oh, it's the buffs. It's the buffs. Because the HP got higher. Yeah.
Oh, okay. Yeah, so...
HP is a little bit higher, but I do feel like even without the buff, honestly, I've used Anomaly on like a couple of the floors, and like it just kind of felt fine. Like I think Hater is still a bit of a machine, but like I think that's just kind of natural when it comes to how much defense it's gonna have.
Yeah, it's kind of a rupture lightning rod.
But yeah, the Shiyu did overall, like, I did try, like, a couple of stun teams. I did try a couple of non-stun teams. I played a little bit of Anomaly, specifically on floor 6. And, like, a little bit elsewhere. And it's felt like, nothing is as tanky this time. Like, even without using the benefits of the buff the entire way through.
Softy,
Yeah.
how was your Shiyu?
I thought it was a great Shiyu. I want to say level 6 was my favorite part because I got to face against Tepesh since forever ago, and
Let's
I really
go.
do love that fight. And then the Rampant Brutes and the Wanted Enforcer on the same, like, they deal both at the same time. That was I wouldn't say tough because my characters are stacked, but it was still like a challenge to fight them both at the same time.
Yeah, there's a lot going on in that half.
It's ching, ching, ching permanently. You could parry everything. It's super hilarious, yeah. I
And, like,
agree on that one.
I would like to comment on the buff a little more as well. I hope they do more of these where, like, it's very obviously shield towards dial in, but it's not so one-sided that you, like, feel like you need to have her, you know? Like a lot of the more recent ones have been.
Yeah, I can agree with that.
I wouldn't say it's too much shield for dial-in because it's just stun agent. You know what I mean?
Yeah, that's what I mean though. Like
It counts for every stun agent. So a shield for me is something if it's really agent specific. But this is like, you could say it's a shield for stun characters, but we have plenty of them. So
yeah, I'm just
if
saying
get what
that-
I mean.
I'm just saying that it's nice that they didn't restrict it under like normal
That's true.
damage or something like
Yeah.
that.
Yeah,
Because if
because
they
like
did that,
this,
it would be a lot worse.
this specific buff is like I honestly don't. Yeah, I kind of agree with Thirsty in that I don't even really think this is a specific like dial-in shill thing because like yes, like her entire thing is having a ton of EX specials and like low cast cost for them, and the buff does say like, you know, EX special and ultimate damage increases by 60%. But one, that's not specific to the stun agents, and two, every agent has good damage on their EX special and ultimate. And like, you know, ultimate damage increase also does help dial in a little bit because, you know, her whole gimmick is giving you another ultimate to use in a stun rotation or whatever. But the entire thing with like the first part is just any stun agent can use it, and like having the benefit of any stun agent being able to utilize it is just overall good.
Perhaps my use of shield then is a bit of a misnomer. Then I guess I should say focused on, you know,
On stun,
island
yeah.
being.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, of course, but this is fairly well done. Like, if we get future buffs that are focused on the class, you know, of the new agents that is currently on banner, it is totally fine because then it's basically a class buff, but everyone profits still from the same class, and it is not catered towards just like 1, 2, 3 agents. You know what I mean? So at least from the understanding of and definition I heard about shilling is that it's specifically for just a few and not for a whole class. So this buff is like really super good. And the second one is the actually real strong one. Every X special attack and every ultimate get a 60% damage increase, and really literally every agent profits from it. So I wonder if we will ever get such a buff again in Shiyu defense, because it's really it's a strong buff, probably one of the strongest we have received for a long time.
Yeah,
Hopefully at some
we'll end up.
points these will just be things that happen every now and then. But like, yeah,
Probably.
it's good when this happens because
I agree, totally. Yeah. No, for my Shiyu experience, I had a ton of fun as well. I did a little funny. I went DPS Jingy again with Fufu and Nicole. And on the other side, I played a little bit with Manado again. And I tried to play him with Dialin and Lucia. and it was super fun. Floor 6 was definitely my at least one half was my most favorite one. Though I have to say, even though I'm not a fan of Tepes is basically the enemy I don't appreciate that much compared to many other bosses, since he's very RNG heavy. But I got so lucky with my Chingy run that I got in, like, after 6 parries, I got the 2 impairs. I could annihilate this guy in 2 stun windows. I have it recorded as well, and it's already out. So yeah, I had a ton of fun with this one. And Isolde was back, and she was. I can say that off, but I had so much fun playing against Isolde with Chingy, Fufu, and Nicole. It was just a sip sap zooming around festival. I loved it. So yeah, this Shield defense, if you play against quick enemies, like either you get spammed in Shield 6 with the Rampant Brute and Fossat, the troublemakers, or if it is like a fast enemy like Isolde. And those are the bosses I have most fun with, since I love to play in an agile way or have like a certain stun and rotation rhythm. So yeah, it's actually one of the most fun Shield runs I ever had.
Yeah. Let's concentrate on floor 7 for a sec here. The Guardian in front of the Defector. How did you feel about that, being the fact that Defector already has so much health as it is, and they threw in another big tanky guy right before her?
I liked it. I definitely liked it because you could build up resources and save the ults for something, So when I went with Chingy, I got the ults ready for Nicole, Chingy, and Fufu, and what I did was using the Fufu on Defector first, after she spawned, and saved the ult for Chingy and Nicole until the stun window. That happened pretty fast after I used Fufu, because I also had the 2x specials ready for Fufu. And it was a pretty quick stun, and then I could use the ult for Chingy and Nicole with everything else. Yeah, I think I got like over 1/3 of her HP bar snacked away in the first stun window, and then she went miasma and zip-zapped around. So yeah, pretty, honestly, I liked it. For me, it's resource gathering. I know some people complained about it. Maybe you guys are not as happy about it.
I'm fine with it. I agree that it's like, a good round for resource gathering that isn't just a ton of small mobs. You get like less opportunity to like manipulate chain attacks and whatnot as a result of it, but I think the enemy is also just not too bulky enough that like you're able to get it done within like 15-20 seconds or so, and then by that point, like if you have a stunner, you're killing it in one stun, and that still gives you an opportunity for like some decibels in a chain attack from your DPS, and like it just makes it really nice to like play into the bigger boss after the fact, because you have more to work with, as you said, like going into the Defector, and it's pretty decent. I have been doing a little bit of a meme myself. Dial-In has given me an excuse to attempt to use Crit Jane more often. And so in this Shiyu, what I've been doing is Crit Jane monophysical with Dial-In and Yuzuha, and Jane on Shadow Harmony.
That's wild, man.
It's very silly, but it's so much fun, and it works a lot better than I think people would expect it to.
I mean, crit hyper is a thing, so Chain should work too. Yeah.
Like I did S rank floor 6 with it. I did not S rank floor 7 with it yet, because in my other half I also used like Piper Bernice lighter just to like have a stunner with an anomaly team and see how it worked out. But yeah, like overall I'm like making memes out of it, and the specifically Defector fight with Jane and Dial-In, like the flow felt nice. The boss wasn't too tanky that I couldn't like kill it in once done, and then like Jane is able to keep up with Defector really nicely. So it's a good fun.
Yeah, for Defector on my end, I went at it with Evelyn, Magus, or Orphe Magus, and Dylan because I wanted to try the new character that I wasted my entire polychrome save on.
Oh no, he said wasted.
Not wasted. I mean used, because she is very strong, and I quite enjoyed the Dylan with Evelyn, because it allows you to activate her no jacket install way earlier, and it makes her burning ember stacks way more interesting to use. It was just good. It was nice pulling out Evelyn out of the box for a little bit.
Nice.
Almost makes me not want to skip Dial-In, but at the same time, I want to save for the Void Hunter because I lost my 50-50, but...
Actually, wait, now that you point that out, that's a good point, chap. I'm gonna look very quickly, but, oh, yeah, okay. Pretty much beyond the fact that, beyond the giving, the Death Shred on Evelyn's, attacks from her M1, her M1 also gives 1500 decibels when she enters the battlefield, which pretty much just lets you cast the ultimate faster than, normal. But with Dial-In, you can pretty much just shortcut that. So having Dial-In is actually like really good for Evelyn. It's pretty much just her M1 minus the Death Shred. It's like half a Mindscape. That's kind of crazy to think about. Now that you pointed out.
Not only that, but when Dylan activates activates the extra ultimate, it still gives Evelyn her burning ember stack.
Yeah, that's the main thing, because that's why you would want to use Evelyn's ultimate in the first place, just for more tether and ember stacks management, and throughout the fight, it's just like I didn't think about it until you mentioned it, but. Yeah, you can use Dylan's little ult thing pretty much immediately on the first 3 EX casts after she enters the fight.
Yep.
So it's just really good for Evelyn.
Yes, chef.
The more you know.
The more you know.
The more you know. Softy, how was your experience with Defector?
I thought it was a little bit easier maybe than last time, and that's probably why the fact that the Guardian and then the Defector was not actually too bad for me. I was just more curious about your guys' thoughts as well. The resource gathering made it much easier for me to face the Defector, and I thought I remember being a little more aggressive last time, but that could be just me. So.
Oh, she's the same as aggressive as before, at least. Especially when she entered Miasma phase, she was heavily zooming around 2 times in a row, so that was fun.
Yeah, I don't think it's less aggressive. I think it's just had more time to marinate in people's minds, get a little more exposure to it over, compared to the first time it appeared in Shiyu, where it was just fresh off the story.
I mean, this is, by the way, I just want to point out, since I have my ears in other servers too, there were some people actually complaining about the Guardian, and were not so happy that there is Guardian and the Defector. And some people seemed to had troubles, but when I asked them, they were a little bit more less invested accounts or a little bit fresher, so... I can see that it is then a little bit tough if you have the garden and then have to fight the doppelganger. So I guess this view has to be, or perspective has to be also
tempered a little bit.
Yeah, shown a little
Yeah,
bit.
it's
So
fair.
yeah, I can understand it can be a little bit rougher for those proxies that don't have this high investment account or are not playing that long. But I mean, it's a gacha game and you have to build it up over
I would
time. So
I would think of it
yeah.
this way: you want to do Hater in 2 minutes, and then Defector in less than 3 minutes, and then that way you do have the time for the Guardian and the Defector, and Hater you just gotta do as fast as you possibly can, because Hater does have a little bit of defense, but just getting him down quicker, then you have more time for the Guardian and then the Defector.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
mean, the advantage of the hater is that probably if you're a low invested account, you will get 2 miasma phases. And while they can be a little bit annoying for some people, they will help you with resources. And if you parry him enough, and he has a good parry mechanic, we have talked about this the first time he came out. He has 3 big parries, which basically breaks like half of his miasma bar already. And then after those 3 big parries, he will attack you again with attacks that you can parry. So the miasma phases on Hater will definitely help you to kill him faster. That's for sure. This is definitely more easy than the Defector, especially since the Defector is like a zip zapper zooming around, very agile. And she has a shorter stun window as well. So keep that in
Yeah.
mind.
Yeah.
As well to comment, haters high defense lends them very well to Rupture or Nicole. So
True.
if possible, use Nicole if you don't have many Rupture agents, or sick Minato or Yidari or Yijuan at him. Or not Yijuan.
Monato.
Gotta remember
Minato,
Rina does the
Lucia,
penetration as
very
well.
Yeah, Rita's a good support for that too.
Indeed.
You say as well something in design wise from Hater, and I'll make this quick, but like Hater, I think it has the capacity to like summon 2 miasma phases, like if you don't finish the battle quite fast enough. But like within 2 minutes, I think you can get like 2 miasma phases, and Hater's miasma phases are so quick that like if you get the parries, then it's pretty much just a free 30% of its health bar damaged for free. Like, put that in perspective, you know, Hater has 28 million HP on the like on, you know, the node itself, like as, you know, the boss. 742. But if you like divide that times, you know, 30% or multiply that by 30%, then like getting 2 miasma phases, you're just dealing 8.5 million damage for free. So if you get the miasma phases like that, the actual effective HP is 20 million, and that's less than that's less than no, not exactly less, but that's like actually equivalent to the HP of the enemies on floor 6 with the Rampant Brute. Like all of the Rampant Brute, Troublemaker, and Tepesh all have like 19 million, 20 million HP. But yeah, like I think that's a unique design of Hater and the miasma mechanic that I really like about it overall.
True.
Yep.
Also, he's a parry machine gun if he isn't in miasma phase, and I kinda got to feel that with Manato. And honestly, I like it that he is so aggressive. It can help you a lot if you get the rhythm right. So it's kind of funny, honestly. I think he's a good boss designer. He is also like special in a way, you know, like fighting with his phantoms this aggressively. I like it a lot. It's also different from the marionette.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Let's go back to level 6. We'll go Rampant Brute and Wanted Enforcer. The fact that they were both together. I know we alluded that earlier, but I just want to say the fact that they were both on each other, it might be a little bit of a tough fight for some people, but at the same time, it's the fact that they were so aggressive that it made it really fun.
Yeah, so
Absolutely.
the Troublemaker Wanted Enforcer is very aggressive and very like fast of an enemy. It does a lot of kind of short, quick attacks. It's kind of like that, like, you know, it's kind of like a boxer. I mean, that's kind of its whole thing, but it's just really fast. It sort of doesn't let up a lot between its attacks. It'll just kind of go at you with like several short jabs and whatnot, and like basically try and stagger you. And they're not super strong attacks, but they are very frequent. Rampant Brute is most of the opposite, except when it's like it has its superpower charge suit, it does attack nearly equally as fast, and they tend to kind of alternate their attacks based on just kind of how their like attack patterns work. So you're pretty much always defending attacks from either one of them until you break the armor on Rampant Brute, and the way to do that is Inflict Anomaly, which is, I do want to comment on that a little bit, because they've done this a couple of times where they put the Rampant Brute in Shiyu's during like metas that don't exactly favor Anomaly, and like it's very much a way easier boss when you play it with Anomaly. So like I kind of feel like it's a bit of a it's a bit of a trap, in my opinion, to play Rampant Brute with like your traditional crit DPS or Rupture teams, because playing it with Anomaly pretty much just invalidates its mechanic. It's crazy.
Well, for the new players, maybe we should explain that Rampant Brood was first shown when Jane Doe was in the story. So basically, Rampant Brood was the made-up boss for Jane, basically. That's why it's also physically weak. So yeah, that's the reason also why Anomaly is good against him.
So honestly, like, if you have Jane or you have Alice, I'd send them in. And even if I was gonna get to that, and if you don't have them, a Piper, honestly, still really good. Will absolutely shred. The only downside is that you don't get like the buff that we've been glazing this entire podcast so far. But you could still possibly make it work depending on what your account looks like.
Yeah, so, I did like help some people out, like kind of figuring that out, because they were like, I want to use the Anomaly team, but like the buff for the stunner is really good, and I'm just like, just use the Anomaly team. I promise you, it's worth it. Yeah. And yeah, they do completely fine, even if they don't make use of the buff, like, or the stun version of the buff, like, at all. It's pretty good.
The second buff makes up for it, that's for sure.
I would say one suggestion is concentrate on one and then the other, even though you do want to try to do them both at the same time most of the time for bosses like this. But getting rid of the brute, or not the brute, getting rid of the Wanted Enforcer will allow you to have more time to do your attacks against the brute, Rampant Brute. The Enforcer does have a little bit less defense, I believe, or a little bit less HP than the Rampant Brute, so it'll make it easier for the long run if you go take down the Wanted Enforcer and then go for the Rampant Brute.
Yeah, I went against the Brute with Manato, Dialin, and Lucia. And the advantage Manato has is if you're like someone who isn't, let's say, too well versed with very, very quick gameplay, Manato helps you with his parries, or if you have him M6, with his X special parries, because he starts slamming like a caveman on the ground, like for 6 slashes or so. And during this time, he is completely immune against any attacks, which gives you like a good few seconds of buffer time where you can focus again on something. And what I did sometimes was I let him hit like 3 times. Then the Enforcer came in, and then you could easily parry, for instance, one of his attacks, and then you're immune again. Maybe use Stylen's X special attack or Lucia one, and that way you have quite many invulnerable phases that helps you for the agents. And then you just rotate back to Manato and parry with him again. And he will do another caveman slash. I did this in my fight. If you are curious about how this looks, just check the video. It is on YouTube, just for reference material. He's really good against aggressive enemies because he hits the ground. The only disadvantage is he will stay on the ground on his spot, which means if the enemies move away, well, you hit empty, then you have to press dodge to cancel his move. But thankfully, the Enforcer and the Brute will come to you. So you will most likely hit them 80-90% of the time, because they will want to attack you again while you're doing the cavemans. It's a possibility you can do.
Let's go to.
I don't really have any more comments.
Let's talk about Tepesh a little bit. The fact that remember that you have to parry his attacks, that way you break his arms to deal more damage.
Yeah.
Disgusting currency.
Damage and days reduction. Not like shield, but it just has like the armor on its arm spikes. Make it take less damage and reduce its days. If you parry the arms, when you parry a single arm 4 times, you inflict an impair and break the hammer. You can do that for both arms, and each of them will make Tepesh take more damage and take more days, so you can stun it faster. Also increases its stun damage multiplier per impair, so also makes it less aggressive over time as you deal the impairs. So like it does like specific attacks that have multiple strings, or like multiple I guess it has a longer attack string, that's what I'm trying to say, as the hammers are active. If you remove them, they are disabled and it just kind of falls over and sits in place a bunch. So yeah, break those. It would be heavily advised to take defensive assist agents. And also someone like Dial In, who uses 1 assist point for her parries, and several other agents on the roster also do this. Like Corin, Piper,
Kaleda, Caesar.
And do defenses in general also all take 1 assist point? I'm pretty sure they do.
Pretty sure
Yeah.
they do. Yeah.
So yeah, they're pretty useful for this type of fight.
Yeah, I just want a reminder of that, because it's been forever since we've had Tepes on the on Shiyu. Like when he first came out in Shiyu, I loved it, and then they never showed it after that. I don't remember which Shiyu that was, but it was back when
Been a
Vivian
while.
was. Yep.
I was surprised. I was surprised that I was able to damage him really good. Like in 1 minute 20 with my DPS Chingy, so I really went hard against him. Yeah, it was actually a good fight.
Yeah, for me, I'm a bit of a parry fiend, so like Tepesh was never really that bad for me. Like, I'm still a Caesar stan, even though she's not that good. So I'm already doing it.
Oh, that's fine. I still use Caesar to this day, for some certain teams. So
You can do the corner technique on this one as well if you want him to throw up his one launching up in the air and coming back down at you. He does that at least once, and you can parry that. Or is it you can't parry that? Now that I'm losing track, because I actually didn't do that.
when he jumps, you can't parry. You have to dodge.
You have to dodge.
Yeah,
That's
the jump isn't parryable, but it does a follow-up afterwards that you can parry.
That's
Right.
why we do the corner attack, because you have to dodge that, and then it goes right into the the onslaught of parryable attacks.
Yeah. Yeah. Pretty chill overall. Honestly, not too bad.
Well, now
Alright.
To briefly talk, I guess, about
Let's-
I have some comments about the Wicked Wraith
The Wicked-
and
oh, we can
like-
continue, yeah.
the whole like thing with the Wicked Wraith is that it's got a big axe and a shotgun, and it makes miasma pools. And it's an elite enemy, so it's naturally less complicated overall than the like other higher tier enemies. I also just maybe killed it a little too fast to be able to properly see what its mechanics are, but I did not see a lot of its distinct mechanics like on its miasmic variant. So I'm not sure if anyone else has any input on that compared to the standard Wicked Wraith.
I have to. I thought you have more knowledge about it because I did fight him once, and I can't even remember how I beat him. Honestly, it took me 2 minutes with Manada, and I can't even say how the fight went, but I'm probably fine with some mistakes. I don't know. 2 minutes is quite long for stage 5, so. But there was Purkra in there as well, so yeah.
That was
maybe
the
that's
reason why it took longer. Was
Yeah. Maybe yeah. I can't remember actually. I know Purkra I had a fight with, and then the Miasma Wicked Wraith was like, he was there, but I can't remember. So yeah. Maybe hey chap, how about do you have a good memory about him?
I'm gonna be honest. No, so,
Well, it's like we didn't do our due diligence on this one, guys.
Okay, wait a minute. I will do something. I will give it a quick fight. Give
Oh,
me a
geez.
second.
Understandable.
for me, the thing is I kind of just kept him stun locked. I don't know. I just beat the crap out of him.
Oh,
Like
no.
I know that like the Wicked Wraith is like it's a like half ranged type of enemy that like still like gets up close to you but uses mostly projectile attacks. I really just feel like the miasmic variant only does the additional thing of like create miasma pools and inflict miasma corruption. So it's like I wasn't able to see like in the moment how it's distinct from the original Wicked Wraith. That's like the main thing for me. Because like when I look at like, you know, the miasmic frenzied maniac and you know, like it has the ability to block attacks and then it does follow-up attacks, and like it has a new like attack move set that is meant to combo with like the miasmic Trinox. And then the frenzy mechanic, when like both of them are on field, one of them dies and then they go into a frenzy and do a big attack string. The Wicked Wraith just kind of doesn't have any of that. It doesn't have, I don't think, any new moves, not that I've been able to tell. And it really just like seems to function the same as the normal Wicked Wraith, but like it shoots projectiles. Those are miasma projectiles. They deal miasma corruption and kills you.
Me when I kill you.
So true.
So I played with the background video a little bit, and I'm watching that part of the. You'll be watching that part of the fight right now. So,
like, if I'm wrong and there is something new there, then like my apologies. I just was not able to note anything, as I guess I didn't do enough fighting of it.
well, I basically stunned him, and then from the fact that I got so much resources from Pulchra that I did not really get to face the brute or the new wraith, Wicked Wraith. That's interesting.
Everyone.
Everyone just annihilated him.
Maybe it'll be a situation of like we'll see more in the future, but I will like go back and look at that a little more properly on my own time.
Give me a second, I'm there soon.
All right. I low key kind of thought you would just blaze through floor 5's first half with your Itari, and then I've already.
Oh yeah, I didn't pick my Itari actually. I was just immediately picking my anomaly team. So yeah, I'm. So there's Purgra.
Yep.
Yeah.
The Trinox will go over that quick. The fact that he doesn't have his little partner makes him really easy to push over again. But it's
Yeah.
I did
It
like
is overall a pretty like chill fight without the frenzied maniac there.
Yeah. I did like really this floor because it did have a little mini mob and then Trinax, and then the next part was the fact that it was Pulchra and then the Wicked Wraith instead of Pulchra and then her other two doppelgangers. Right after that, it was definitely a change that I do appreciate a little more, even though we all hate Pulchra for her dodginess.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'll quickly remind people for the like Pulchra like kind of invulnerable potion thing, that's only applicable, like she only dodges attacks that are close range during that. So if you have a ranged like option on your team, any ranged option at all, like use it after she backs away and applies the potion, and it'll be good. You can also use, I think, pretty much any ultimate will also knock her out of it.
Sometimes easier said than done, but
Yeah, I mean, it is a first wave, so you're probably not going to have an ultimate, but if you have a ranged agent, then that's a much more consistent solution.
There is
Mr. Blood.
that, I want to say that
I'm
a lot of
I'm
resistance.
just kicking a little bit.
There's a lot of resistance and weakness in that particular side too, because the fire and physical weakness, and then also enemy electric and ice resistant. It's really just, you see a lot of like symbols here that you got to make sure you're watching carefully or reading it correctly, for the fact that the elements are very specific on what you need to be facing for it and what you need to not face for it.
Yeah. Overall, the like weaknesses is very fire and physical oriented through like the entire way through on every second half. First half shares like some ether and ice weaknesses and a little bit of physical resistance from the Trinox, but nothing too bad. The Tepesh has no resistance, and the Troublemaker and Rampant Brew have ice resistance. Then Hater is electric resistant. Then the Defector is ether resistant. We don't have a lot of ether resistance enemies in the game yet. That'll probably end up happening a little more over time. It's just because ether is a rare element. But like, yeah, like a spread of the resistances throughout the entire thing, but pretty consistent weaknesses.
So I'm currently running around with this guy. He is actually very slow, which is probably why we don't have much memory about him. Since when you spam him, he's like, yeah, he doesn't do much. He has a few parry attacks. He has a dash attack, and he has a range attack with his shotgun that you can't parry, but you have to dodge basically. He has two X slashes, one that comes with a miasma pool, but it hits only locally. He is actually a pretty chill boss. He jumps around a little bit if you're far away, but other than that, honestly, he's not that special. And
so he just makes my ass up holes. Got it.
Yeah, he's pretty chill. Now, the miasma pools are not often, only on one of his X attacks. So, yeah, I guess he's a pretty decent boss. Yeah.
At least he's not like the
just
frog.
ran around him.
That's all I like, the fact that he's not the frog if he makes those miasma pools.
Yeah, no, he does make miasma pools, but if you're far away, or parry it, you won't get really affected by it. Like the only thing that got me, he has a ranged shotgun attack, but he also has a ranged X/slash attack that brings out like a violet bankai, if you know what I mean. Not bankai, sorry, this Getsuga Tenshu thingy, if you have seen it.
You are speaking words, my friend.
well, it's whatever. So yeah, he does a little ranged attack with the X as well. That's it. Fun boss, honestly, fun boss. But yeah, you can easily forget it if you don't watch too carefully. Yeah.
All right then.
Well,
Guess then moving on to the frog very quickly. Frog is back. Frog exists. I don't hate it. I don't love it. Mandrake is an enemy that exists and will be a pertinent talking point later on. But remember how the Mandrake works if you don't know already. It is like the single enemy in the entirety of the standard enemy pool that does not take like anomaly or stun damage. And like entirely relies on raw damage to die. It's like a stationary enemy and it like rotates itself, and like it's a pretty simple enemy besides the mechanic. But just keep that in mind for later, okay?
What?
Cool.
What'd you call that again?
The Mandrake. It's in the fourth floor.
It's like the tower that sits in the middle of the arena. That
Oh, okay,
Like-
that's what it's
like
called.
buffed.
Okay.
The stats still spinny thingy.
Man,
The Beyblades of the Ethereals.
Okay,
Yeah.
I missed that part of the boss when I was looking at all the other enemies that were on that level.
Yeah, it is a lot. Is this the first time there's been 6 enemies on a Shiyu?
I think
I'm
so.
actually not
Maybe.
sure.
I was wondering why I had such difficult time grouping them with Nicole. I'm gonna be honest.
Really? Huh.
There's always just one that sneaks out. Is just barely. I had to like restart a couple times just because I know that I wouldn't get a fast time
I see.
if I didn't group it, and if like one of them has their like pinky toe, it like bounces them away instead.
That's interesting. Yeah. Okay. No, I went in this fight with Manato, and thanks to Dial-In bringing in a first stun window and also hitting a few of those, like I could Manato zip-zap around the enemies with the chain attack, which is quite funny because then you don't rely too much on an agent that gathers them together. You just run through the groups and hit like 2 or 3 of them in the meantime. And the Mandrake, I think, got down with the chain attacks as well. I think I used 3 or 4 Manato chain attacks and cleared the first wave. It was really funny. I didn't record it, but I got it in 1 minute 4, so really fun.
Not too bad.
Mm-hmm.
And then the second half, the Pugnus, mentions that it's sort of like the Farbody enemy from like the first half. It's the big guy that walks on its hands and like kind of Hulk smashes, walks at you, and does like its little thing. It's pretty much that, but with a little bit of armor, and that is strangely enough, like unlike the Wicked Wraith, the Pugnus is an enemy that I did immediately notice like 2 new distinct attacks from, despite like the similarities to, the Farbody. Like whether I just like kind of got lucky with those or not, I don't know, but like I did immediately notice that they had different attacks, and also they are ice and physical weak compared to like every other standard enemy being ice and ether weak. And then the miasma spawns are also like the smaller enemies, the things with the big bulbs of skulls and like whatever those are. It's also ether and physical, which is a unique combination. Haven't seen that very much.
So speaking of weaknesses, they only list 2 weaknesses for that particular side, but technically it's ice, physical, and ether for weaknesses if you combine all the 2 or all the 3 enemies.
It's
Yeah.
3 elements, but each is different. Ice physical, ice ether, and then ether physical. That is quite the combo, if we are honest. I remember also the miasma spawn. There were 4 of them, right? Because
3 or 4
they're
or something like that.
annoying. They're a little bit annoying to group. I remember that.
Mm-hmm.
Also, Sevadra, good thing that you know that you had different attack pandas, because Pugnus on my side, the first thing he did was the classic Fabuki attack, where he just hammers on the ground. And this is the only attack pattern I remembered, because then he was stunned and killed. So I was like, this feels familiar. It seems like he's just a stronger copy, but okay, now I know he has different moves. I need to see that in the future. Oh man,
Incredible.
hilarious.
But yeah,
A lot of new
That's
enemies
pretty
for
much
this Shiyu.
Lots to talk about.
Mm-hmm. Let's move
But
on
hey.
to Deadly Assault, but before
Wait,
that...
Sevadra, you wanted to say something about the Mandrake?
Oh, you did?
no, not yet. We can wait on that.
Okay, sure thing.
Yeah,
Okay.
we'll move on to Deadly Assault, but first, a word from our sponsors. This episode of the Scott Outpost Investigators podcast is brought to you by Bardic Needle. As citizens of New Eridu, we all have one thing in common: hearing the sounds of life, whether that be the hustle and bustle on the streets or the roars of the monsters in the hollows. Bardic Needle can invoke the sounds of escape, the sounds of power, or the sounds of relaxation to help you deal with your everyday needs both in and out of the hollow. Whether you need a mellow tune or an ultimate banger, our drive disc technology can harness the energy of ether and turn the tides in your favor. From the elemental flavored sections of metal, to the smooth harmonies and jazzy tunes, to wistful and epic whims from atop from UK Summit, even to melodies inspired by the legendary Proxy, and so many more, we're sure to have the sound that fits your vibe just right. Come in today to enjoy a special deal where you get a +3 print on your favorite disc when you tune your sound through our store on 6th Street. Limited time offer, so don't miss out. Faith is Melody Drive Disc is not official Faith and Manding nor merchandise, and all Hi-Fi Master copy proceeds go to Bardic Needle. Music may not be suitable for all audiences. If you're epileptic and triggered by abrupt loud sounds, ask your doctor before tuning with Bardic Needle. Side effects may include headache, nausea, ringing in the ears, delirium over tuning, or chasing impossible perfection in substats. Special tuning promotion ends on Monday, December 8th, 2025. Drive Disc void where prohibited. Thank you for Bardic Needle for sponsoring this video.
Thank you, Bardic Needle. We appreciate it.
All right.
I practiced that one thing like 3 times, okay? And I still have loved up the start, but
It still
I
was
loved
perfect.
it. I loved the repeat of it. It was good, man. It was good. Yeah. Subscribe now, and your next disc will be a +4 on crit rate, crit damage, or anything else you will need.
No, this is not guaranteed.
Yeah, the fine print is also there, but nobody has to know it. Great,
Alright.
I love those bits.
All
That's
right.
good.
The monkey's paw curls. It'll be a +4 defense.
Our
I
love
want
and
to
hate
see
for
the
the
comments
Bardic
if
Needle.
anyone. Yeah, I want to see the comments if anyone got a +4. Just write it in the comments if you got one after the ad read.
All right, let's go
All
to
right.
Deadly Assault Season 25. The fact that
go.
the buffs are back to normal are just very much appealing to me.
yeah, so
Right.
after the whole turmoil of the previous patch and like everything that was wrong with the buffs are pretty much no longer wrong with the buffs. There's no hyper-specific clauses for specific move tags or anything like that. These buffs are all pretty generalized all around and usable for everyone that like they are described in their classes for. Aberration being a very good general anomaly buff, but with the disorder damage increase being very good for, Alice and Yanagi specifically. Meditation increasing max HP and ultimate damage, which mostly benefits Yixuan, but is good for rupture agents, period. The ether and damage and ice damage percent doesn't do anything for Monato, but that's pretty good for Yidhari and Yixuan as well. But still getting a energy and adrenaline increase after using ultimate. That's good for all of them and everyone else. And then the big bad, Sever Pulse, which is kind of pretty well suited. It's more well suited for dial in, as a quote general stun buff than the Shiyu buff, in my opinion, because it's specifically built around using an EX special 3 times in order to maximize its stacks, and then also specifying being a stunner agent. And Dial In is really the only one who has the cost and speed of casting EX specials fast enough to get all 3 stacks very consistently. But you can use double stunner teams to circumvent that and get the max stacks on double stunner anyway. With 1 stunner on a team that is not Dial In, it's pretty rough. But, still usable for stunner agents. And Res Shred is a very rare and very good stat to have. So, very good buff.
Get it 3 times. 3 times 7.
Yeah, it's just worth having, period.
Even though
good
it
buffs.
was a shill for Dial In, I felt like I've used it for one of my teams as well, and it didn't need it. Actually, was just fine for that particular team. I can't remember what the team was at the moment because I had reset my Deadly Assault, but I just remember that it was it was actually a nice usage for any stunner. Even if it was specific towards Dial In.
Yeah, it's pretty good.
Definitely.
As for the boss lineup, we've got a old but gold, the Notorious Marionette, and then the newest boss from this new story, the Thrall, and then the return of the Miasmic Fiend Unfathomable. The Marionette comes in at a crisp 127 million HP, and both the Thrall and Miasmic Fiend are swinging in a pretty hefty 160 million HP this cycle. I believe the last cycle Fiend was on, it had about 120 million HP? It was 2 or 3 seasons ago, so it went up a lot.
Yeah, you definitely.
Oh no, it was 134 from season 23. But yeah, 2 seasons ago. Yeah, 2 seasons ago, and a 20 million, 25 million increase is quite a lot.
Yeah, most people felt that. So my points decreased around 5,000 points. So we still should not forget that it is a pyramid topic we have on the bosses. So the higher you go in score, the more HP the bars get. So still, for those people who need to reach 20k, it got a little bit harder too, but less harder compared to those people who hit 45k beforehand. So there's the difference with the DA bosses there. But the buffs, luckily, were pretty good enough to compensate the HP increase, honestly. Funny enough, I think it is one of my best Deadly Assaults I ever did. It is even better than the last rotation we had, so by 700 points.
Yeah. I've been taking a liberty on this cycle to start an extension of my big test that I like to do every now and again. This big test pretty much being what I call the the DA benchmark, where what I end up doing is like making as many functional or like, theoretically fluid teams that I can out of my account, with the intention of having all distinct agents, all distinct gear, and all distinct all distinct engines on each of the agents, and getting as many clears on each of the Deadly Assault stages as I can. This pretty much is like, so say you have like one distinct team of 3 agents like Mono Ice, like Miyabi, like Hansokaku, and you use a set of like, equipment on them, and then like do a run of all 3 of the bosses with that team individually. You tally how many stars it gets, and then once you use the team, the gear is locked, and you can't share like discs or engines or anything else. So it requires you to build your other agents. And this also sort of stresses using average builds or slightly above average builds, and not best in slot teams, in order to balance your account's power. And I'm a very horizontal player, so this type of challenge, like, it's very, arbitrary, but I think it's a good judge of, I have a very wide roster, and I use like all of the standard like pool of I use all of the standard pool of agents very often. So it's a good measure of like where everything is doing, like how everything is doing in the game right now. And I prefaced all of that because I wanted to like say with the original point, I have taken the liberty of doing tests on Fiend and Marionettes with the 9, count them 9 teams, completely distinct, 27 agents, all separate gear, all pretty average gear, all things considered. Doing tests on those 2 bosses because Thrall will be in the next cycle, and I'm doing the full cycle tests next cycle. But I've used them all, like all of the teams on Marionette and Fiend, and they do pretty alright. I mean, Marionette specifically, it's like really good. Not a single team like got below 2 stars, and most of the teams were able to get like 17k or so. Like at least a good few of them 3-starred, like 4 or 5 out of the 9 teams. And then the Miasma Fiend was a different situation where I had one team that only got a B rank, and spoiler alert, this team was Monato, Ben, and Lucia. So you can take from that what you will, given the fire resistance and anomaly focus of the boss. But everything else was able to, again, 2-star, and unfortunately I did only have one 3-star team from my tests on that, but I consider the general bar to be 2 stars for things being okay. And they were pretty alright. It was a little rough for Fiend specifically, and I'm a little worried about Thrall, but we'll cross that bridge when we get there.
I need to do that sort of test. That'd be fun to just make sure all my teams are available now that I have another Mono Ice team now. So I can actually, the OG Mono Ice team, I can finally play and try that out. I still have yet to really try the team out, but I did build Lycon, so I'm going to be ready for it when I actually do another Deadly Assault.
Yeah, I will also join Sevadra on the next cycle test because I'm curious how my account fares. I'm in a similar state with my account. My account is also pretty horizontal. I have plenty of agents. I have plenty of discs as well, and also pretty much enough engines. So I will see how many teams I can build. I still need to do it. I still have to find out. It will be quite funny. I will go in blank. Sevadra already gave me the stare, like, you at least want to do it one day before, and then I'm like, yeah, I will do it at some point.
I have just personally been planning and building my account for this specific thing over the past like 5 or 6 months, And the last time I did this was 9 months ago, but like I just generally have had the motivation to build the account around doing this type of thing specifically. As like, this may be like, to some people just be like, why not just play Threshold Simulation? And like, it's a good mode, don't get me wrong, I really love that mode. It fits my account completely perfectly and I'm doing well in it. But the major point is like to figure out the power scaling in like, the in endgame as a whole. So I am doing it in Threshold Simulation a little bit. But that's a newer endgame game mode and it has like lower HP and like way better buffs overall. So it's going to naturally produce different results than Deadly Assault, which has over time proven itself to be more like restrictive and has a higher priority focus on like shill and such. And like last patch was a pretty concrete example of that. And so it's mostly to measure the state of the game, like where it is as a whole. I'd like done it for a little bit of Shiyu. We'll do it for a little bit of Deadly Assault. Do it for a little bit of Threshold Simulation. It is what it is. But I think of my current like preliminary tests on these two bosses, like Fiend and Marionette, like Marionette as a boss like seems completely fine. Fiend as a boss seems a little less fine, but still mostly okay in terms of the game's balance. I do think the HP point that we are currently at, even if like the buffs are getting slightly better over time, I do think this is probably the HP point where like if things continue to go up in drastic spikes as they did between the past two cycles, like with Fiend getting the 20 million HP increase, there will start to be problems.
Yeah.
In that like broad clearing department. And they're like already pretty much there for casual players, but when it becomes a problem for like, I like to consider myself moderately skilled, but when it starts to become a problem for moderately skilled players, that's when it's really going to be a problem.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
Yeah, I'm hoping they don't increase the Fiend anymore HP, and it's only because the fact that they have the points section of the fight, mid-fight, where you have to dodge the darts. But other than that, I feel like that with that part of the fight taking up a good 10 to 15 seconds, I don't remember how long, but it just takes forever.
It is quite long.
Yeah. So that's why I'm hoping they don't increase that HP any more than they already have.
I'll touch on that a little bit on when talking about the Thrall, and we can like start talking about the Thrall because someone brought up a point about like that type of like design mechanic that I hadn't really thought about until like people started talking about the Thrall a little more, because the Thrall as a boss is pretty like unique in that it has those like it has a pretty good amount going on overall. Like it starts with an invulnerable phase into like a first attack that it does that like can put it in a like weakened state for a little bit, kind of like the Miasma Priest's Impair. When you like parry specific attacks, it will weaken it and give it an extra like damage multiplier for a little bit. But then like the Thrall itself has a like couple of moves that it does, and like it'll be moderately aggressive. It's a humanoid type enemy, and kind of moves pretty rapidly, attacks quite a lot, but takes a lot of days. Like I like did some comparisons the best I could, and I feel like the Thrall itself takes like so much days, like not even specifically from Dial In or like Lycon, because it is ice and physical weak and electric resistant, my bad. But I did like analysis on like how it looked between like this amount of days it takes from either parries or like in general just attacks from like its weak element enemies versus or its weak element agents versus like Palakis and Thanatos, and it stuns so fast. Like it takes so much days damage the Thrall itself. So like yeah, you really want to bring a stun agent because it does take a lot of days. The reason why it takes a lot of days is because there's a second part to it. And that second part to it is that it will summon a crocodile. The name is Sobek. And
I've been calling him Montgomery Gator.
Montgomery Gator from Five Nights at Freddy's.
Based.
But Sobek's major mechanic, and what I alluded to earlier with the Mandrake, is that Sobek does not take any anomaly or stun damage. It does take exclusively raw damage, and all of the raw damage that it takes is transferred to the Thrall's major health bar. It has its own health bar, and you can defeat it, and you have to defeat it in order to get performance points and then trigger the miasma phase. The miasma phase in this boss is not on a timer, and Sobek does not go away in its first phase once it's summoned. It will stay there until you can either stun the Thrall through some fusion attacks that it does occasionally, like it is its own entity and it does spawn with the Thrall and its like own stun bar and whatnot. But you can stun it during a specific attack phase that it does, and I learned that from Blood actually. He posted a video on the Thrall like doing its first phase combined attack thing and like stunning the Thrall during that.
Yeah.
But otherwise, Sobek doesn't go away, and you gotta kill it. And then once you kill it, it puts it in a weakened state after the fact, and then starts miasma, which is another long sequence of parries and a bit of invulnerable phases and whatnot. And when it came to like the start of like the transition to Thrall and the introduction of the stun, like, or the invulnerable phases, like with respect to HP, someone that I saw in, I think it was Muzzy's video, and someone in the comment section of Muzzy's video on the Thrall pointed out that the enemy design, like, of these bosses is like a little more cinematic than probably what it's like, you know, good for in Deadly Assault. But that also means that the HP of the bosses and like the ways that the bosses take damage are designed with those things in mind. So like if there's going to be like an amount of time taken from the fight from a stall phase or an invulnerable phase like Thralls or Fiends or whatnot, like you take like a good 20-25 seconds of the fight to do those cinematic cutscenes and whatnot, you're going to be dealing more damage in the period of time that you have remaining in order to balance out the necessity for like 20k points or like even a kill at that point. Because if they didn't balance around that and they didn't have some means of you being able to deal more damage and or eliminate the miasma faster, or like, you know, get through the invulnerable phase faster or whatever have you, the method of which to counter the invulnerable phase, the HP would be way higher. And I didn't think about that until I saw that comment. And like, I've never hated the invulnerable phases by themselves, but like just given that thought, like food for thought, it's pretty interesting to see like the general direction the bosses are going. And I have felt like the Thrall itself is a fine boss, I actually really like how extremely consistent the first part of the fight is. Like, right up until the end of Miasma, every move is pretty much exactly the same for the first, like, minute and a half of the fight. And it's really nice. But,
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah. I don't know. I haven't had much of a problem with him. I don't know. I know there's been a lot of discourse with him. I think he's just fine. I think he's whatever. I do find it annoying that he flies around so much, but it's not like, at least not right now, it's not make or break.
It's not as
So-
bad as the Defiler. I say that right now. That I mean, he does fly around a little bit off the stage, but like it's very short compared to Defiler, where she's out there for like a good like 20-30 seconds, whereas the Thrall, it's like maybe like 5 seconds off the field every time. So maybe it does add up to the as much as the Defiler, but at the same time it's like there's interaction and there's a little bit of a break is for at least that part of the fight, so you can get your agents in the right spot to be ready for him to come at you from outside. So I actually really am glad that, or really am happy with this boss, even though it has many different aspects of like the Thrall being outside of the stage.
Oh well, I mean, what can I say? It's like some people will love the Thrall, some people will hate him. There's just two sides of each coin. There is really like the Thrall is not too bad. The only issue I do agree that he has is he's pretty buggy. He has a few things that definitely needs to be fixed up. He got a hotfix apparently about his, I think it was his hitbox. I think that was like 2 or 3 days ago, where they also mentioned it in the hotfix letter. Other than that, I hope they will probably do more bug fixes in 2.5 after the bigger patch. I didn't have too many problems with it. I killed him. I mean, I have to say again, I have an M6 Hitari. Okay, I know Sevatra, I know. I killed him after like the second or third try with my M6 Hitari. Again, it is M6.
Oh my god, bro.
It was a fun boss. I haven't done the story before, so I went in blind. I also did fight him with Corin. I did fight him with Hugo, where I found out that you can actually stun during the croc phase, which was quite a hefty discussion for Hugo because so many people were like, Hugo will have problems. For Hugo, definitely the croc phase is suboptimal. But if you have the right teams like with Lycan and Lighter, you can still clear him. I have seen fights between 25 and 40k. R2 did quite many runs. Honestly, it's a boss, you know. I do like his cinematic entries. So, and the thing is, what he allows you is he's a boss that is definitely focused around the stun window. He has a pretty long stun window as well that you can extend with dial-in. And in this stun window, you get a lot of buffs. If you go in with an attacker or rapture agent, you will do a lot during his stun phase, like a lot of damage, that's for sure. So I got 22,000 points with my M0 Hugo and his signature, with Lycan and Polkra, if you got the right rotation. If it is not optimal, if you don't get the RNG based during the croc phase, I did with the team between 16 and 19k, which is a 2-star. And this is a little bit more difficult thanks to the croc phase with Hugo, but there is ways to play with him. And not many people will play Hugo with Lycan and Polkra. If you have Fufu, Lycan and Hugo, for instance, the 20k should be pretty easy if you're consistent. Yeah, he's a very stun-focused boss, and he basically makes up for his stun window for his invulnerable phases, in my opinion. You get a lot of resources from him thanks to pairing, especially during his miasma phase. His miasma phase is basically just a battle phase, because then you just parry him all the time and then the miasma phase is gone. And you have often during those fights, I have all ults ready. I have maxed out EX as a energy, and then you just continue from there with a stun window on him as well if you hit the last parry. The drama that is occurring, people have hating him so much for his like there was a good comment on the R2 video apparently. Someone was saying like Thrall is just a different boss compared to, let's say, Typhoon or Marionette, which are basically the polychrome pinatas. You just hit them permanently because you can. And the Thrall, you can't. You have to basically fight around his moveset. Yeah, and I love this comparison. And I'm kind of glad CCC is switching between hittable bosses that are like a polychrome pinata and bosses that are cinematic like the Thrall. Like we had Hunter. Hunter is more of a I will hit him all the time boss, and he has a very very short invulnerable phase where he goes hiding and you have to play hide and seek with him. The Thrall is more cinematic again. Defiler is also cinematic, by the way, my most favorite boss of CCC still. And then we have all the other bosses. Like we have like a good mix. And if we look at this current Shiyu, we have Marionette, that is basically the punching bag. And then we have Thrall, that is cinematic. And Fiend has only one miasma phase, which is like the 20-second phase. And then you can still continue to punch the shit out of her. There's variance. So I don't see the issue. The bright issue that, oh my god, everything is so bad. Currently, the Thrall in over the internet is the worst boss CCC ever had.
I don't see it.
Yeah, I don't see it either. If you believe that, I mean, it is your opinion, you know. I don't judge anyone if he doesn't like a boss, you know. But I think some people are really jumping the ship way too fast, instead of just learning the boss and see how you can fight around him. Because what I like is if you get a certain rhythm about the boss, and Thrall allows you to play like on a wave, like surfing. And like surfing, you have to learn the wave patterns that are always a little bit, is to surf with him, and then you can kill him. I think he's not a bad boss design, but I do agree there are some bug fixes he definitely needs. And I hope that he will get it soon.
My biggest takeaway from Thrall, I'll be quick, is that they continue a pattern of making phases that are invincible, and like I get it, it's cinema, absolute cinema, but like kind of annoying. It's not bad right now, but like as the game will progress and the people who continue to spend money and people who want to spend time to get their characters up, like they don't feel that like 5-10 second hit, but lower powered counts definitely will. Sometimes, like even if you were just getting 2 stars, your account's not that great. Like those 5 seconds can add up a lot, and if you're not dealing damage, you're not scoring points. So
think for the Thrall, you're just like you're getting yourself readjusted, and that's how I felt like that whole fight. Like when he went out for like 5 seconds, you just need to readjust where you're at on the field, and it gave you that little bit of time to do that.
Yeah, and like I'm not saying it's a problem right now, but as the game inevitably continues to release new characters and slowly creep up the numbers, right?
Mm-hmm.
It'll start becoming more and more, I don't know, like noticeable. Mm-hmm. So I just worry about the future. For now, it's fine. Yeah, I just have reservations about the future.
I do get that, but I think there's a common misconception as well. Like the Thrall is a good example. You get resources back during his invulnerable phases, quite a lot as well. So not on everyone. Like on Miasmic Fiend, she gets invulnerable, and you just the only thing that is good on her is you get a lot of miasma out of her pretty fast. But the Thrall gives you pretty many resources. So it's like he's out there, you readjust, get resources, and then you bash your head against him again. So it's like I do get it also in the future that some people will have troubles, but you also move along with the game and get stronger and probably pull also new agents. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
So
I do. It's
yeah, you ride with the wave. Of course, casual players will have a little bit of a harder time, especially also free-to-play players. But I don't think we are at the point it's impossible. But Zevato said something where I do agree a lot, and that is we have reached a really solid HP threshold right now for bosses. Anything that goes drastically higher again, like if we in 3 patches the Miasma Fiend gets another 20 million HP, then I would also agree that it will get to a problem for
Yeah,
CDC.
it's
and then I
it's
will say power
basically
creep
a-
is coming.
it's basically a hanging concern of mine.
Yeah,
Mhm.
no, it's fair, it's valid, it's definitely valid. But for now, I think it's not critical. We are not at the point of breaking.
No, not yet.
I
Yeah.
want to say that you did point out the hotfix, and I did not notice that. Well, actually, I did notice my score change because I did it as soon as the boss came out. My score for my Yadari team was around 27k, and then when I just did my Yadari team again today, it was at 34k. So there is a big difference that hotfix really helped with the hitbox.
Yeah, definitely. I think it was his tail. If you hit his tail or something like that, you hit the empty void and something else on the hitbox. Something was odd, so it should have helped plenty of people now on that
Major-
regard.
The major fix that I noticed was that in the first days of the boss release, there was a specific thing with the 2 fusion attacks that you can parry for extra damage multiplier. The Thrall goes way up in the air to do its little thing before coming down on those fusion attacks. And I saw it more specifically on the second fusion attack, at the end of the miasma phase, compared to the first fusion attack at the very start of the fight. But there was a big thing where the Thrall was just clipping out of bounds at the end of the fusion attack animation. So you couldn't parry the attack. And then furthermore, you couldn't damage Thrall until it did one specific attack that's a ranged attack that would clip it back inbounds for some reason, or it summons Sobek again. And that was a really kind of big thing disrupting the flow of the fight, because it was just you were doing everything right. It was just the boss was clipping out of bounds because it wanted to. It just said, screw you, I'm done. And that wasn't very cool. But now that stopped happening, so it's a lot more consistent of a fight now.
Yeah.
I noticed something else, and that is during his miasma parry phase. I think I had this issue with my current team. It can happen if you miss one of his parries that you go into Shadow Realm, but not like you clip out of the world, but you miss a parry, and then suddenly you miss every parry afterwards. Like I couldn't get into it again, even though I clicked. It was just an empty hit, and this was, I think, after the patch. So it seems like, but it only happened once and then never again. So it's probably not completely fixed yet under certain circumstances, which was odd for me because the screen also went dark after I parried, you know? It just went dark, you hear the whoosh, I didn't hit anything, and he just continued to hit and slap me. And I was like, I couldn't get into the parry phase anymore. I even missed the last parry hit, which is very important. So yeah, don't know how I did that. Maybe I broke the game. But yeah.
I've noticed a little bit of the parries during his magma phase. I'd miss it every so often, so don't think you're not doing or you're not the greatest if you miss like all of his parries, or at least you get the first one and then you miss the next two afterwards that he does. So it's like it does a 3 parry sort of thing. Think of it like the Miasmic Priest. I mean, she does like 9 and the Miasmic Priest, whereas this one only does 3 and then goes back out and then does another 3, then goes back out and does another 3. So at least it's less like aggressive, but it's still like you'll notice that you can try your best to get all 3 of those parries, and you can try your best, but if you get 1 or 2, that's probably the best best hit scenario for that. As long as you get the
less
first one.
rapid. The like miasma parry phase compared to the priest's purple sword like flurry is way less fast. So like it's more probable and like very much more accessible for like the average reaction speed player to like get all of the parries.
Mhm.
But like yeah, it is.
It's
It
more
is,
consistent, honestly, on my side as well. Even though I'm very good and agile with my gameplay, I'm a very fast-paced player. I love that. But it is definitely Thrall is more consistent, definitely, than the Miasmic Priest. I can vouch for that. It feels way
Yeah.
better.
I mentioned that like pretty much the entire fight up until after the miasma phase is the like exact same every time, and like that's not a lie. It starts with the opening invulnerability. It comes down for the first fusion attack. It attacks. The thrall does like a set of like 3 or 4 attacks, and then a fake parry that like will yield a yellow flash, and it'll start attacking after like the 4th main attack that it does. But it will be a yellow flash, and then as soon as you try to block it or retaliate, the thrall will block your attacks. And it does that like very consistently after that number of attacks until a specific time on the timer, which I think is 220 remaining or something like that. To which it then spawns Sobek, and again, like you have to defeat Sobek in order to trigger miasma. Otherwise, it just alternates between like Sobek will attack on its own, and then it'll the thrall will come on field to do some like fusion attacks every now and again. But you kill Sobek, trigger miasma happens, and on like optimized runs, the like time from the start of the fight to the end of miasma will like pretty much always be the same set of like 3 attacks from the thrall after the parry, and then like usually 1 stun before summoning Sobek, and then kill Sobek, do miasma, get the miasma parry, enter 2nd stun. That is, with most of the teams that I've tried, pretty much the exact same, like minute 20, minute 30, sometimes minute 40 if I'm a little slower on the Sobek kill, like of the entire fight. So like it is very consistent. I've tried a good few teams. Like I got my like 2nd best DA performance ever thanks to Yitari and like a general challenge that the Battle Hub was doing this season. But like I've tried, Yitari with Dial In, and that's like given me a 50 something K, like mid 50K. But I did also try like several other teams. I tried Hugo, I tried Ellen, tried Miyabi, like I tried Neko, Zuyen. Yeah, I've gone a pretty good amount of testing, and also like using Thrall, or not using Thrall, using Jane, like crit Jane with Shadow Harmony was like the first thing I did that on was the Thrall, and that got 17K. And then I tried Puffer Crit Bernice with Dial In, and that got 19K. The only major thing that I haven't tried a whole lot of is like proper anomaly teams, specifically because of Sobek and the fact that it doesn't take anomaly damage. But like that is like the big example of like you will notice that if you're not doing enough damage, you will notice that the Croc is just still there for 2 minutes of the fight, and that's basically intentional. But yeah, it's a very consistent fight. Like very kind of once you look into it a little bit, it seems like very telegraphed for at least the first portion of it. Because the second portion of it after that second stun that I mentioned, it just kind of cycles through what it was doing before. Except after the first Sobek kill, it has like a specific amount of HP and like it's not very strong. But like the second time that Sobek comes back on field, it is a fair bit stronger. And you can then also remove, not remove, you can like resummon the Thrall or like remove the Sobek summon after dealing half its health instead. And I did like basic arbitrary math based on like how much damage score it took to kill Sobek on both of those phases. The first phase Sobek takes about like 1k damage score, like 1200 damage score or something to kill. And then second phase Sobek takes something around 36 to 4000 damage score to kill. So yeah. You also get performance points from killing Sobek and parrying the fusion attacks that deal the weakened multiplier. So keep that in mind as well.
Yep.
But yeah, like a very, very consistent boss overall, I think. Like it's like looks pretty complicated, has a fair bit going on, but that's pretty much all I have to comment on it in terms of mechanics. I can't think of really anything else that like would be a detriment to not mention.
Yeah, I think we gone over a lot of what the Thrall is, and we can move on. I was gonna say we can talk a lot about multiplayer, but with how much we spent on the Shiyu and Deadly Assault, let's mainly touch on the second half of what I was gonna talk about for multiplayer, because I know we're all excited for multiplayer, so we're gonna just wait for them to actually release the multiplayer aspect of the game coming up soon, because they did talk about it on Bilibili. But the most recent PvP event for co-op or for the chess event, there is a the IP of your when you play that game can be leaked to, or it's very easy to see when you connect with other players. And that is what I was wanting to talk about mainly, was the fact that, do you guys find that a concern if other people can see your IPs? Would you be wanting to play the co-op, or the fact that there's a chance of leakage of data playing PvP or playing multiplayer? Would that discourage you guys from wanting to play the mode?
Yes.
I think it should definitely be in consideration, and I think we should be cautious. It's like, it's not tremendously a big deal, because like a VPN, and if you're safe on the internet, you should be using one of those anyway. Cat cameo, sorry.
Yeah.
But it's at the bare minimum, I think people should be very aware that this is a thing, and we would be remiss if we didn't mention that as far as I'm aware, it still hasn't been patched yet.
Yeah,
They haven't fixed it. So
just to clarify, the IP address is not encrypted, which basically means if there's someone who has a little bit of knowledge, they can visibly see your IP address. Yeah.
Text right there.
In plain
for them.
sight. Exactly. Apparently, it only counts, as far as our knowledge goes, it only counts for the Bangbu event. There is no info and news yet that it actually counts also for the multiplayer version. We will have to see that. If there is
Well,
anything new about it, we will definitely mention it in our podcast.
It's the implication is what we
Yeah,
kinda,
indeed. I would definitely not. No. Coming from, I mean, I will just let's say I'm pretty well versed with internet security in a certain way, even though I'm not a technician, but I do come in contact with those things. No, I definitely would not play multiplayer until it gets patched. I will also not play the Bangbu event multiplayer. I will just play the regular event and then move on. And if I miss a few polychromes, then okay, so it is. I will definitely also mention it in the survey that
Yeah.
this is a big issue.
Yeah, because as an IT
It should
nerd,
not be.
as an IT nerd, a lot of my friends have servers that that they don't play the game, but thinking of my friends who have servers in their household, or having a person being able to see the IP and then start like hacking that way is a very much a concern for a lot of my friends probably. So the concern is definitely there, but as a person who doesn't do much on other than this game on my computer, I'm not too worried, but it still would be a concern for a lot of other people about the IP and making sure that is hidden next time. And I will put that in my notes as well for the fact that this multiplayer is definitely a concern. I don't want to have to skip multiplayer because of the issues that this IP leak is, but I'm 100% in with you guys that like it will stop me from wanting to play other than the initial first time.
Yeah.
it's again, it's like it's not a traumatic, like it is your IP, which is important to keep secure, but it's also like there's a lot of variables that have to go wrong in order for someone malicious to get a hold of it.
Mm-hmm.
So
But
it's
still, it's out there. So
It's
there is
out there,
potential
that's-
risk. It's potential risk, and this is not good.
no,
So
this is an absolute like this should have been fixed week 1, honestly. But
yeah, exactly. It's just bad for the game generally. So this should not be like it is a very big company. They should know about internet security. And honestly, for a huge company, this is a big flaw. Even though the issue might be not the biggest one, but it's quite a big flaw for the company, for a gaming company. So I definitely don't favor this. So this is one of the things I definitely don't like right now about CCC. That
yeah,
this is a
because
thing. Yeah.
then another thing is that there's also the implication of, is there other stuff that we missed?
Exactly.
You know,
It makes you insecure, and this is a big issue. That's why it's definitely not good. I hope they will tackle it.
I hope so too.
I do hope so as well, but I also fear that they're not going to make a public announcement of it. Where they're just gonna
they do, where it's like, I mean, it's kind of a big enough concern that, like, I feel like if they're pushed to the point that they, like, should in order to maybe either restore PR or like just say that they have addressed it, that they should. I don't see a reason why it would be beneficial for them not to, because if people are gonna like get their IP stolen or like have, you know, things happen to them as a result of playing the game mode, it will like it'll be a very much instant hype killer and pretty much game killer, to be honest.
Yeah.
Like, there's no good that comes from them being silent about it, but
No, but
that's like company politics that, you know, They
What I mean by that is that they're gonna. I imagine they're. I hope they're. But they're probably gonna shadow fix it because they don't want to draw any attention to it, or as little attention to it as they can. I don't know if that's what.
As long as they fix it, that's what I'm mostly concerned about. But I do feel like they should address it and be like, "Yeah, hey guys, we kind of fucked up. My bad."
I would definitely favor it.
The 2.5, it'll be very much a hit if they did not fix this for 2.5, because I know 2.5 is what it sounds like. It's going to be a soft launch, another soft launch like 1.4 was. So
yeah, new Void Hunter coming. It's going to be something pretty special. At least it's anticipated that it's going to be something pretty special. And again, it's building a good amount of hype, and like, you know, this is kind of the end of a tumultuous phase that like they really need to like get that last step in and really like cement the players' trust that like they are going in the direction, with like all of the players concerned about story and like mostly about gameplay and all that other stuff that, you know, people have been concerned about for a little bit. The vocal minority, while a minority, is still like an opinion of people that have like been talking for hopefully the love of the game. But like they're kind of at that like sort of last step, I feel, where it's like, hey, people will probably be like talking good about it after the patch if things go well. And one thing that will make it not go well is not fixing a leak of IPs in a multiplayer setting, because that's one of the main draws of your patch. Like that, they should definitely do that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, we'll have to see if that's what they do. I mean, you know, it feels it feels like everybody gets a puppy versus infinite diarrhea, but I've seen companies make worse decisions than that. You know, like there's a choice that almost everyone agrees is universally correct, and then it doesn't get done and everyone's confused. I've seen that happen more than once. So
here's the hoping, I guess.
Here's the hoping.
Yep.
Here's the hoping.
We will see. We will definitely keep in touch with this topic and hopefully have an update in the next podcast.
Yeah, hopefully. Before we go, the next DA bosses for starting next week will be Wandering Hunter will come back, the Thrall will be back again, and then we will see the Bringer Sacrifice come its way from a long break.
All the way from the depths of like season 13 or something.
Yeah.
Like, it's been a long time since we've seen Bringer, so.
All right.
See how Miyabi being pulled out of the closet, dust him off.
For me, it's the question: where do I put my Yitari?
You got 3 ice enemies to choose from, so you got options, man.
Indeed,
I do want to see Dari against Bringer. I'm excited.
I
play
definitely will.
That.
I definitely will get my Miyabi on Bringer. This is the first thing I will do. I mean, I bet Yitari can kill all 3 bosses separately. That's for sure.
All right, let's go to the outro. Savadra, where can we find you?
I upload to YouTube at youtube.com/@Savadra, and I sometimes also stream on Twitch on twitch.tv/@Savadra. I am also moderator and co-owner of the Battle Hub Discord server, and I'm also like the primary, or mostly primary, maybe secondary, I don't know. It's been kind of Dio, but I have also been a pretty big hand in it. Restreamer for the Zenless Fights Twitch channel at twitch.com/ZenlessFights, where we stream occasional tournaments and stuff like Yeah, pretty much occasional tournaments every now and then. But yeah, I do a bunch of that, and then I'm just around a couple of Discord servers, a couple mostly smaller Discords from various content creators. You can find me around.
Thirsty, where can we find you?
You can find my content mainly on YouTube under the name Random Blood Gaming. I post, as the name says, quite random stuff. It's currently very CCC focused. I am sadly again behind my schedule for my report update for 2.3. I should have the video tomorrow uploaded, so that's that. And I will also work on the 2.4 report as well again with my people here. But yeah, I'm doing some random runs sometimes with a little bit sweat. There is also currently a DA challenge running, our 5th in the Battle Hub server, because I'm the owner next to Sivadram. And we have a really fun challenge this time around. We focused more on the free-to-play players on M0. And it is quite a fun challenge, and people seem to like it a lot. And yeah, and I'm also in various Discord servers running around, sneaking and peeking and seeing what the people are up to. So yeah. Softy, where can we find you?
Let's fast chat first.
Yeah, I know I'm not always on. You can find me at the Battle Hub Discord, usually. I mean, I'm around, but you'll find me in weird places, but
He's
the
there.
Battle Hub Discord, I'm in the background.
I low-key thought your entire thing was just going to be, you can find me, end quote.
You can find me.
I mean, he's the guy, the chap from Canada, so you can find him also in Canada.
Yeah,
Real.
good luck finding me, though.
He's hiding behind the mooses.
Use your VPN to hide your IP.
True.
Not sponsored of this video. Any VPN.
But yes, Battle Hub Discord, like we said before, there's always stuff going on. We're doing the free to play challenge. I vibe. I don't know. I never know what to say with these. I don't have any social medias. I just yap.
Mm-hmm.
It's fine. You're there.
It's fine.
And you're here in our podcast. Like Soft Image.
Yeah. You can find me on YouTube. I do random runs of Deadly Assault and with a little twist. And then also I do streams every so often on mainly YouTube now. And hopefully I got my sound fixed so that way I can stream without issues.
Let's go.
Let's go. All right, you guys take care. Adios.
Bye-bye.
Have a good one.
Cheers for now.